Welcome back. So our special guest of today is an epidemiologist, a veterinarian, and a politician. She built a substantial academic career alongside her time in public service. She was once a senator representing Ogun State Central District, and she is the daughter of the former president. Please welcome Senator Iyabo Obasanjo.
Organize every other day I organize. Only some of us are one. Every other person of our wife. How was it? I need to love you. ìwọ ló kọjú. Ọgbọ́n sọ̀dí, ókè. Àgbọ̀n kọjú, ọgbọ́n. Ọmọ lọ́gbọ́n sọ, ó sì lọ́gbọ́n sí. One more time. I be organized. Every other day I organize. Yeah. Only some of us are wise. Every other person over wise. Listen. Ológbòtú, ọgbọ́n, ìwọ ló gbọ́tù. Ọgbọ́n sọ̀dí, àgbọ̀n gbọ́tù. Ọgbọ́n, àmàmọ́ lọ́gbọ́n gbọ́, ó ti lọ́gbọ́n jù. Where the sage yeah. Waka no rest you. Wetin I go do? Waka no rest you. Wetin I go do?
Whoa. Addy. They love you. I didn't know she could dance. I'm thinking, okay. Fantastic. So good to have you on the show. Is she okay there or should she move to the middle? Can move just a little bit to the middle.
Okay.
Just a little bit. Okay. Thank you very much. So now, a lot of people know of you. We definitely know of your father, your family, but we hardly know much about you as a person. So could you just give us a snippet of how it was growing up in the Obasanjo household?
I'm the oldest child of both my parents.
Wow.
So of course, and I grew up in a Yoruba family, and so of course, what that brings is a responsibility of being, because if you understand Yoruba culture,
yes,
hierarchy is more important than anything else.
Yes.
So I was the oldest child. I am the oldest child of both parents. Can you bring my own water back? Can you bring my own water? Thank you. The oldest child of both parents. I grew up in Lagos.
Yes.
Born and bred. Grew up in Lagos, went to primary school in Lagos for 5 years, and then finished my primary school in Kaduna.
What schools were this?
Corona School, VI. And then Capital School, Kaduna.
Nice.
And the instigation for our move to Kaduna was the Dimka coup.
Right.
So all of us were carted to boarding house.
Oh, wow.
Because of that event, what happened was the day of that event, all the people left in school that the parents didn't pick up were children of military officers, because we have so many of us. So it was a very traumatic event for both my parents. And so the boarding school seemed like, at least if you're not here, we won't have to, everything goes awry, you'll be in boarding school and you'll be safe. Then after that, I came back to Lagos, Queen's College, Lagos. So apart from that 1 year in Kaduna, then from Queen's College, Lagos, I went to University of Ibadan. Did prelim and 5 years in the veterinary school. So I was...
In Nigeria?
Yes.
Abroad. Wow.
I went to UI. I was UI. Most people, I still have a lot of, thank God, people alive that were my classmates,
right,
colleagues, or contemporaries at UI. Yeah, I was at UI. I didn't school abroad. So I was at UI for 6 years, prelim, 5 years, because I did veterinary medicine. So I did veterinary medicine, then did youth corps. Fortunately for me, I was able to do youth corps in Ibadan, mostly because I had some research going on campus that I needed to continue.
Tell us about the household. You're the oldest. How many children? Because there's always a lot of confusion between your family. We don't know how many children they have. We don't know how old your father is. There's just this confusion. So give us an idea. How many kids?
I'm the oldest, and it's not a good thing. And I think in a lot of our traditional cultures, just not Yoruba alone, there's always this thing that won't come or follow more.
Yeah, true.
I mean, so it is this idea that since I'm not the parent, I think whatever the parent wants to say is the bearer of the children. But I'm the oldest. I have my full siblings.
Yes.
There's 6 of us.
Oh, 6
of my full siblings.
That's
so
cool.
Yes.
So, but were you a very strict older sister, or were you?
Sorry.
Were you a very strict older sister, or were you a nice?
I was.
You look like you're strict.
No, I was a very easy older sister, and I tell people because especially abroad, people will come to me after I'm the oldest child. They were like, "Oh, you had a lot of responsibility," and I said, "No." Actually, I didn't. And for me to say I was changing baby nappies and all that will be a lie. And it will be like, I didn't have to.
You're a rich kid. You're a rich kid. You're a rich kid.
Rich. I think I was upper middle class, not rich. Because in Nigeria in those days, we didn't have rich people per se. Nigeria was a different time, a saner time. We were children of civil servants, upper civil servants, and there was no. There wasn't that many people too. Lagos was still you could drive. I still remember when Ikorodu Road was all bush to get to the airport. And I'm just going to be 60 next year, so you can imagine.
Fantastic. Okay.
How much change Nigeria and Lagos are seen in my lifetime alone. So I don't think we're rich. It was just that like most Yoruba families, we have an achievement goal for our children. And so because of that achievement goal, you are not training your children really that hard to look after children. So it wasn't my responsibility. My responsibility was to succeed so that the others behind me can succeed. That was the goal. It wasn't if you were there and you needed to carry your sibling, you did, but it was not your primary responsibility because others had that responsibility.
So your dad looks like a no-nonsense person. Do you recall any time you may have disappointed him when you got spanked? Do you recall any time you may have disappointed him?
You're going to have to ask him that. I don't know, because when you disappoint someone, it's for them to know. I think that, like any parent to a child, I'm sure there are things that were like, "Oh my goodness, Iyabo hurt my heart here." But it will be for you to ask him.
But I wanted to report your dad to you. I have to report your dad because, many years ago, I think back my former company, many years ago actually, I was doing a show on Sundays, and my producer got us to have your interview with your dad. And we drove all the way from Lagos to Abeokuta and to see him. And he received us very nicely, was kind, was warm. In fact, he gave us food. We had beans and plantain, dining table, the cameraman, my producer. He had a great time. We were enjoying ourselves. After we now finished the food, I said, "Mbo, station Woloni Otife." The moment I mentioned the station, he just took a deep sigh. He just left. It's not doing again. And he left.
That is not abuse. You should go ask him later what that station did to him.
I don't. He just stood up and left.
You're not supposed to be. In this world, I don't think when people slap your face, or giving back your other cheek is a wise thing. So the question should be from you is that what did that station do to him?
When I see him,
yes, because it's not my right. It's self-abuse. If somebody has done something bad to me, and then I stay in that situation for them to do more bad things to me, so he has that right, and he chose it. So he wasn't trying to be mean, and it was warm and nice. but everybody has their boundaries, and everybody should have their boundaries. You should not take everything you are dished to you should not be what you take.
True.
Because if you don't let people know their limits to what you can do, they will abuse you, and then you feel very bad. Like you'll be alone saying, why did I allow that person to do this to me? So yes, every human being should have their boundaries.
Fantastic. Okay, fine, fair enough. Let's talk about your mom for a second. How was your relationship with your mom, and how did I shape the woman you've become today?
Oh, my mom, I would love to say, is probably more stricter than my dad when we're growing up. Not strict in the kind of beating or cane, but in a kind of, if I talk to you one-on-one, you can cry. Like, she will. So it was. But my mom is still alive. I'm one of the lucky ones that I get to be 60 and I still have both parents alive. It's not common in this country, and it's not common around the world either. Because people's age limits are what they are. So my mom is a wonderful human being, a wonderful soul. I can say she's funny. And we've had our ups and downs, just like any child, and I've had with both my parents, because at some point, as you grow older, you have to also have your limits with your parents, right? Your relationship has to change from a child that everything has to be done for, to a teenager that is a little bit independent, and now to somebody that is like 60, a fully grown adult, almost getting past middle age, and and they are now even they are elderly essentially. So but I think I'm glad that now I have great relationship with both parents. So
I have to ask this question on behalf of many Nigerians. How old is your dad?
My dad, he is he will have his 90th birthday next year.
Wow. Because he keep
but like he himself will tell you, he was born in a small village in Ifo local government called Ibogun.
Okay.
In those days, Ibogun didn't have a primary school, and they had to walk. Ibogun Olaogun is one of the villages. So Ibogun has several little hamlets in those days. So they had to walk, I don't know how many miles away, to the Ibogun that had the primary school. So when you started school, they will say you should. No, I don't even think they did that. Your age, and I think in his village, what they did was like they just looked at all the other kids that and said, okay, if the other kids it's probably 2 years or can be up to 3, give or take 2 years. No, maybe not take, because I think he feels that it's probably older. Looking at some of his village contemporaries and looking at the age, so it will say 90 next year officially, but it could be 92. But once that age is stamped, it follows you for the rest of your life.
Okay, all right. Because Nigerians are confused. We get different numbers every time. All right. So growing up as the daughter of the president, or a general's daughter, were there certain expectations society had of you, or even had of yourself?
Not really. When I grew up in the 70s, 80s, and maybe partly in the 90s, Nigeria was nobody knew who I was. Even when my dad was head of state, apart from if you knew the family, you didn't know who I was. So it was, my only expectation was just that, not to disappoint my immediate family, to be a good example to my siblings. Nothing, I wouldn't say there was any excessive pressure. I think in that era, very different from now, being the child of a military person, I think what was constant on your mind was the various coups and counter coups. Like, of course, those coups and counter coups affected the whole country. But if you were a child of a military in those eras, it affected your life in very, very significant ways. So when there was a coup, you had to think, is my parent alive? is my life going to change? Because each coup led to not only death, retirement, like, you had to then decide, you of course, nobody will tell you all that. You know how Nigerian families, they won't call you and say, okay, your father is on this side in the coup and is alive. So you're kind of monitoring, trying to figure out what is going on to see if my life will continue to be the same or if this will cause. So I think I will say on behalf of the children of that era, when we had so much coup and counter coup, we all probably had some PTSD from all that killing and dying that was going on all around us all the time. And I think all of us are older now. It's not. It's good to be in an era where that is not part of.
Yeah. Have you ever had a conversation, all of you together? Those of you.
No, we're all scattered. Like, we when we, if you get to see each other, I'm sure everybody deals with their trauma when people say, oh, Nigeria, this, that, Nigeria, in terms of chaos and violence in leadership, the 1960s were the worst. We had waves and waves of the leadership of the military killed constantly. If you look at what that creates to society in terms of the children left behind, some people had both parents, like in some coups and counter coups, both parents were killed, both the mother and the father. Right. Just so much trauma.
Right. So, I wanted to just go back to the education, because I know that when you left Nigeria, you went abroad, and currently you teach in the university as a lecturer or professor. Tell us about that journey.
So after I left Youth Corps, did my 1-year Youth Corps, I went to the US. I did a master's in the US, and then as I was finishing my master's, I enrolled in a PhD program. So I did my master's at University of California, Davis, and my PhD at Cornell. I got my PhD.
That's some big schools.
Yeah. I got my PhD in 1995, and when I even think of that, it looks like a long time ago, 1995. So I did my PhD, did a 2-year postdoc at a university called Wake Forest University in North Carolina, and I was doing the postdoc when my father was arrested during the Abacha years. So my idea then was I'll do the 2-year postdoc and then come back to Nigeria and probably teach in the university. So that kind of jumbled that plan. And so I ended up working in the US, not in the university, but in research in the pharmaceutical industry for a couple of years. And then did not really come back to Nigeria from like the year before he was arrested until I think 2 years into his presidency, the first term of his presidency.
I'm going to come back to that story in a minute, but I wanted to know, what do you currently teach in the US? And
I teach, my PhD is in something called epidemiology. I'm an epidemiologist by training. And I teach at the University of Maryland, Baltimore. I teach public health students. I teach, and I make the joke that nobody knows what an epidemiologist is. I've met highly educated people that will say, oh, epidemiology, you treat skin. No, epidemiology is the study of the pattern of diseases. It literally means study of epidemics. So epidemiology always means study, is from the Latin. So the time epidemiologists became king was during COVID. Every day you saw an epidemiologist on TV telling you whether the disease was going up or going down. So that is what epidemiologists keep diseases from breaking out. And when they break out, they're the ones trying. So they're not physicians. They don't deal with individual disease. So you can't go to an epidemiologist and say, I have a headache. But you need people to control diseases so that they do not become worse in the population.
Somebody's listening to you right now and say, okay, you study and you're teaching in the US. Why can't someone like you be teaching in Nigeria? They would say.
I love what I do. And I love what I do. I taught, most people don't, I taught I've never really had a teaching job in Nigeria, but when I was in the Nigerian Senate, a friend of mine was the dean at the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. So I used to, their first set of students that got to the final year, I needed to taught veterinary public health. I actually met that friend in veterinary school. So she said, Iyabo, you're an expert at this, come and teach it. So I will come from Abuja I said, look, I can't do it twice a week. Normal courses are either twice a week or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
I said, if you put 2 hours on a Friday, so I'll fly in either Thursday evening or Friday morning and teach for 2 hours on Friday. And those 2-hour courses, it was very exciting. Actually, when I started teaching public health abroad, the notes I created for that course was what I used. So I did that. One of the students I taught at UNAB is now at the University of Texas and is a professor himself.
Ah, fantastic.
He went to Canada, and he's an epidemiologist.
So let me rephrase that question. If they want to hire you in Nigeria, would you be willing to take that job?
No, because they won't be able to afford me. That's the truth.
Very. Okay. So going back still on education. Recently, the issues on education in Nigeria has been trending. What are your general thoughts?
I would do it for free if it was the right situation. But if I ask them to pay me, it would be a waste of my time.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Damn. You see, when they say that
When I did it at FUNAB, it was for free. I didn't take a penny from there. But I will do that again in the right situation, right? If I didn't have to kill myself to get there and all that, and I was excited, but I will do it. But I would not do it for money because it will just not be worth it.
So we have a lot of Nigerian educated. You see, this question is very close to my heart because a lot of Nigerians who are smart like you, a lot of Nigerians who are educated, the first class of this world, Canada, US have taken all of them. We are almost left with, I don't want to use that word, with these scraps. And it's
I'm going to argue with you. I don't think any human being is a scrap. I think that what we have in the country is that if you do not give honor and praise, like when I was growing up, if a professor came to visit your dad or my dad in Nigeria, then whether he had money or not, you respected that man because he had reached the top of his academic journey. When a society rubbishes the educated, you cannot encourage. Some of those people that are behaving badly and you think can't do well in school, they're not doing well because it offers no reward. You have to reward excellence to get more of it. So you can't blame the individual for failing or not trying, because I think in every society around the world, like it's always said in the US, especially to refer to African Americans, skills and ability is equally distributed around populations around the world. That is my belief. No society has more mathematicians, people that can think mathematically than another. But some societies are able to create those mathematicians because they will let them. So skills are evenly distributed, but opportunity isn't. So if you don't have the opportunity to show your math skills, you will not develop it.
Did you get that?
So we need to create, and as leaders, we need to create more opportunities for young people, especially, and for everybody. I really don't see it as people not trying. Is that we have not said that if you do this well, we will let you. We will honor you. We'll try. It's not only about money. We'll recognize you.
Yeah.
We'll do this.
So even though we've lost the A-listers, I mean, I keep saying that because many of these countries, even the US, they are all putting systems in place, various schemes in place to attract our best brains. So
They're
many
not
of them
trying to attract your best brains. They are doing what is good for their society. They're not putting systems in place. No country is saying, "Oh, I want to," but if you put system in place to get the best, some of them will not come from your direct societies and some will. Like, look at the Soccer World Cup, saying that they're putting system in place to attract, especially the US today. The US today is not saying they want people, but if they see you are very good, they will still take you, even although they're putting visa restrictions. What I'm saying, they don't want your dregs of society, they want the best, and you can't blame them for that. So I don't think that I think, like the saying goes, water we find is level. Good people will find where they need to be in the world, and we should not blame those countries.
All right.
And for example, the doctors leaving, we can't stop them. You really can't, and we shouldn't try. We really shouldn't. We should try and produce even more doctors, but we should actually try and create systems where they can do their job here. So you cannot tell people not, the way the world is now, talent will go where it's needed.
Thank you for that. So let's move on to the issue of regrets. I mean, people see you're accomplished, you look like you have everything, you look like you had a perfect pedigree growing up, and they'll think, you had a good life, but would you say you have some personal regrets in life?
I don't know if I have some personal regrets. I don't know. And a good life is relative. I don't think that there is a good life. I think you live the life based on the opportunities and where you are in each step of your journey. And we, as a human being, sometimes you'll make the wrong decision. And for me, it's that at every step to learn the right lesson. So you can't be perfect, because this world we live in, every one of us has a new blueprint. You cannot copy your parents' lifestyle. You cannot, because by the time you are born, the world has changed when they were born. So every generation has to do their own thing. And since there's no blueprint, you're going to make mistakes. The value is how you take those mistakes. Don't take the mistake and say, oh, I made a mistake, I'm just going to go on. Review them. What did I learn? How did I grow from this? Let me not do this again.
All right. Because she is such an important personality. Look, you go ahead, please. Ma'am. Because she's such an important personality, I'm going to just allow maybe one or two people ask questions. Good questions, sensible questions. One or two. If you have none, it's okay. I can't see anybody. Wait, Wisdom. You are in-house. Who else? Nobody. Okay, Wisdom, go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, ma'am. I'm Wisdom Opera. So I want to ask, as a daughter of a former president, are you in any way looking forward to go back to politics, like ruling a country or ruling a state? Do you have any thought in mind about that?
No, about January, I started running for the governorship of Ogun State. I have no, but let me go back how that journey started. So around 2 years ago, a group of Ogun State indigents, because I participated in politics, I was a senator for Ogun Central for 4 years. That was 2007 to 2011. So at that point, some people from Ogun Central, not only from Ogun Central, all over the state, came up and said, look, you did quite well as a senator and as a commissioner. Before that, I was a commissioner for health for 4 years in Ogun State. So they said, we would want you to run for governor. And I resisted. I was like, honestly, I have a good life. I've done everything I've wanted to do. When I've needed to change my career, I've gone ahead and done it myself. When I left politics, I had my PhD, but I'd never really taught in the university. So I went back, brushed it up, and I had to climb up. Like from somebody that didn't have tenure, I just had to climb the steps up. And by the time they came, I was at a place where, like anybody in their career, and you are my age and you've done something for a long time, you become sort of an expert in it. And I did not want, let them bring that baby.
She was born this year on the show.
Okay.
So, and they named him Morayo.
Okay.
Come.
I was looking at that and I was like, why is a baby on the show?
Oh.
Wow. Oh, I don't want her to cry.
Aww. Oops. Okay.
Morayo, say something.
Look at him holding his fist.
Oh, she's not happy with all this now.
Oh,
She might start crying.
nah.
Okay, I'll try and answer the question while she's
Okay,
not.
then, let me take her then. Okay, come. Come. Mm.
I
Aww.
knew the light, the
My little boy. Yeah, it's a little boy. Yeah, go ahead.
okay. So yeah, I knew she wasn't happy. I was talking about
This year, they wanted you to be governor.
okay, so in January, around November, December, I decided to actually try to start the run for the governorship, and I chose none of the people that came to talk to me about running had a party in mind, right? They were like, "We want you to run." So I said, "What party?" They said, you know, let's discuss it. So we analyzed, we looked at it, and I said, I chose to run under APC. And that reason really has to do, it was personal, because I'd had some interaction with the current president years ago that were not positive or negative, but it kind of always showed me respect and dignity, and I could talk to him like this, and he will listen to my opinion. And so I felt that the only way I could reciprocate the honor I had given me in those discussions was to join his party. I didn't ask him, I had no access to him. But my experience in Ogun State itself during that journey was very negative. I will say that. No, it wasn't very negative. It was the journey going around the state was very positive. Almost everywhere I went, somebody stood up and said, "This is what you did for me in the past."
Wow.
Everything from you gave my daughter a job, my daughter got into school of nursing, to you gave my child a job, to the ball in the mechanics village, you gave it to us, and it was eye-opening. It was eye-opening in that it taught me that our people are decent people, and they know the people that do right by them. Even after 15 years of not participating, everybody was talking about what I had done. So it was a very positive experience in that light. Within the party itself, I just think that that was very negative. So what I then did, I'm not going, because I
don't want you to go too far.
Yes, I resigned officially from the party, and all that is public news. And so I joined PDP, and because I really want a person. Part of my being upset with APC was that the candidate they chose in the consensus did not keep the promises he made to me and my followers. And that is very important to me. So what I did was I joined PDP really just to help the candidate win, because the candidate has been in the political trenches. Before I left politics, he was there. And he has worked very hard, built a formidable team. So I wanted to help him, but the reason I want to help him more than so when we started that discussion, what both our teams decided was that the best way to help him was to run for the senatorial district where I'd worked before, and I'm still the most popular senator in the history of that area. So I'm going to help him by running for the Senate in that area, because nobody since I've been senator has actually come close. Wow. So my hope is that it wins and that we'll have the governance that we need in the state.
Fantastic. I know you didn't want to talk too much about politics, so I won't take any more questions because I'm afraid of what I will hear here. Let me just, but I would like to thank you for coming. What would you like to be remembered for?
That I helped a lot of people, that I touched a lot of lives.
Thank you so much. I know on our show, we usually ask our guests to declare. And the reason why we do declaration is just to connect people like you to our audience and our viewers. Say, what can you do just to give back, which you've been doing a lot of time. So I wanted to see, what are you declaring for us today?
No, I brought, and I think it's been delivered, I bought fabric for the audience, and I think each person will get more.
So we have, give me a sample. Let me see what mommy brought for us. Wow. Thank you so much. So she is declaring fabric for our audience, but I know we have a first timer here. Let me be the first to collect. Yeah, come and collect your own first. Because you're our first timer, you'll be the first to collect. Thank you. So that's all we can say. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you on our show.